welcome to you all at home.
You've still got a chance to win this race, haven't you?
Just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it through the light.
Hey guys, Harrison1 back at it once again for a brand new video for you, and welcome back to Dre TV and back-to-back episodes where we talk about all things motorsport with a little bit of gameplay in the background to keep you guys mildly entertained. So, in this back-to-back double-header, and this is one by popular demand, I'm going to be talking about grid goals. And now I thought I'd be making an entire video about this, but you guys asked for it, you guys wanted to hear my take on the situation, so here goes nothing. Or in this case, here goes something. So, the whole talk which has blown up over social media since, I think, Thursday, was the announcement that the WEC is announcing they are no longer going to have grid girls on the grid during the Grand Prix weekend. They released an official statement about this on, I'm just going to find it now on my computer real quick. It was April 1st, so yesterday. Yesterday they came out with an official statement saying, WEC garages, paddocks, grandstands, hospitality and media rooms are full of beautiful women, always much appreciated by everyone and not just before the start. We have many more beautiful women who work with the WEC than just those holding number panels. On the grid we believe cars are the beauties and the Le Mans style start echoes the spirit of Le Mans and the ethos communicated in all that we do. So, the WEC make a big announcement basically banning grid goals, and it's no longer going to be a thing. And there was a lot of social media hype over this, basically, and a lot of social media talk over this as to whether this should be a thing or not, and whether they should ban grid goals, and what purpose do they serve, and basically a lot of heated back and forth social media discussion on this. And people have asked me for my 2 cents on the matter, and hence why this video is now a thing. So, what do I think of the whole situation? Do I think grid goals should be a thing still? Do I agree with the idea? Short answer, no, and I think the WEC should be applauded for doing something like this. I still think it's 15, 20 years too late, personally, but you've got to start somewhere, and in my opinion, why not start now? And you know what, the WEC are really the first of its kind to really start doing this on a large scale, so obviously it's going to draw attention because the WEC is growing in popularity as a series as well. Now, here's my take on the whole thing, and I'm going to be borrowing from a lot of other sources and places in this video to back me up on this, so bear with me. Is it just a titillation thing with grid goals on the grid? No, it isn't, and I've got to be fair on both sides of the argument here. It's not just glamour models here that are holding these number boards and dressing scantily clad. These companies are not making them, they're giving women these outfits, and if the women are okay with wearing them, then that's okay. We shouldn't be in the business of policing women's bodies. If they think it's okay, then we should think it's okay, quite frankly. So that's one thing I want to get off my chest as well before people start going down the other end of the road with this. And it's not just glam models that are doing this, it's often passionate fans of the sport too, who just happen to be attractive. It's a thing. Attraction is going to be a thing in society forever. Like, there's no getting around that. Like, that's unavoidable. People perv on other people. That's human nature. I understand that. But, to me, I'm ignoring the whole gender objectification standpoint on this one, and I'm just thinking about this from a more practical level, first of all. What's the point? You could get any Tom, Dick or Harry to host those signing boards with a t-shirt representing your brand on it. Why has it got to be glamour models and women like that? And I don't understand why that is, quite frankly. And I don't understand, and I don't think they actually add anything to the product or add anything in terms of sponsorship. I don't think anyone's going to look at a hot girl in a Yamaha t-shirt and think, I'm going to buy a Yamaha M1 now. I don't think that's how the world works in 2015. I really don't. And you know, I'm going to bring up some examples here now. For example, Formula 1. Formula 1 Have you ever seen a Formula 1 race and after the Grand Prix where they have a bunch of clapping women as they applaud the men heading towards the podium in the Parc Ferme area after whoever's won a Grand Prix? Like, what's the point? Why are you hiring 50 women just to stand in a corridor and clap? I don't see what that adds to the product, and I don't see where you're going to get the return on your investment. If you're a race organizer, where are you getting your money back in having all those women stand up in a line and clap? It just looks stupid. I've always said this from day one, and I don't know what purpose they serve. Having them on the podium to hand out bottles of champagne and the winner's caps is one thing. Why have they got to be in a corridor just clapping their way to Parc Ferme? I don't understand that. I just don't. Even from a gender standpoint, I think it's stupid. It would be stupid if there was 50 men doing the same thing. I just don't see the practical enhancements of doing something like that. And Formula 1, that's one thing. MotoGP takes it to another level as a MotoGP fan. And for example, MotoGP actively advertises their paddock girls on their YouTube channel and on their website. I found a social media post about this on the 30th of March earlier this week. And the tagline on the Facebook post was simply, "What would we do without our lovely MotoGP girls?" My response to that was, I don't know, maybe move into the 21st century? Like, fuck you, Dorna. Like, seriously, I can't believe in 2015, they're still, like, advertising their paddock girls like it's still a thing. Like, get with the times, people. Nobody gives a shit about how hot the paddock girls are. Like, my attitude was, get out of the way so I can look at this really pretty bike. Like, seriously, I can't believe, like, people perving on the women is one thing. Like I said, that's always going to be a thing. It's another thing entirely when the company that's employing them is actively objectifying this. That's where I have a problem, and that's where I draw the line. Because I know there's grid boys as well, and grid boys exist, and I've seen it happen last year. I think it was Assen, where I saw a guy just in trousers, and his 8-pack was visibly showing. I'm like, that's even worse, quite frankly. That's just as bad. Like, what's the point? Seriously. And unfortunately, the umbrella holding business is a female-dominated industry. That's just the reality of the situation. Not just people want to say, oh, but when women perv on the men, that's just as bad. You're missing the point, quite frankly. And like I said, it's one thing when a company just puts them out there. It's another thing when another company advertises them. And I know friends of mine that almost regret giving Dorna their money for MotoGP when they're actively objectifying women like this. And to me, it's a waste of money and it doesn't really serve much of a purpose. Formula 1 is not a glamorous sport. MotoGP is not a glamorous sport anymore. In Formula 1, we've moved on from James Hunt. It's not all about smoking a cigar, driving cars at 200 miles an hour and then going home and banging 14 chicks. Like, it's not like that anymore, in my opinion. And I think the role of women in motorsport is more prominent than what it was 40 years ago. And times have changed. Like, we're now talking about whether drivers pee in their cars or not, whether they're sweating at 60 degrees when they're out on track for an hour and a half, and talking about guys like Ted Kravitz wearing socks and sandals on live TV. Like, Formula 1 is not glamorous. Stop pretending.
Kimmy, you missed the presentation by Pele.
Yeah.
Will you get over it?
Yeah, I was having a shit.
Like it is. It's not 1970 anymore, and get your head out of your hot pants. The times have changed. We've all moved on from this. It's a totally different sport now. And I think advertising these women, I think, is portraying the wrong message to the next generation of younger fans. I really do. So, like, what they're advertising is the whole story of, oh, drive really fast, be really good, get the girl at the end, like in a really bad and corny action movie. Like, stop that. It's nonsense. It's like I'm watching Fast and the Furious 6 again, and I don't need to see that. Because quite frankly, if you want to see scantily clad women, there are much more easier and more viable alternatives, quite frankly. And I don't think you need me to tell you where to find them. There's much other places to get your cheap frills, and that's the way it looks at it. Because I think there's three camps when it comes to this kind of thing. There's the people that are for it, there's the people that I think don't really care, and I think there's the ape-like people of the 60s and 70s and the older fan that's like, oh, we gotta have our girls to look at, and I'm like, no. No, you don't. Have you never heard of the internet? And I'm like, seriously, just forget that nonsense. And you know what? I'm not saying get rid of them entirely. There is some genuinely more viable alternatives out there. Like Badger GP suggested, for example. How about child mascots like in football matches that you get? Maybe with parents to carry them around for safety reasons like at football games. Maybe fans who won a competition can do it. Maybe VIPs for the sponsors, like they said. How about, if you're going to have models, why not have them promote some charities instead so that their awareness is actually used for something altruistic and positive? Or how about even drivers' friends and family members as well? Why not? Invite them down, have them be a part of the race day experience. That's a cool thing. There's some genuinely viable alternatives to this that could actually work. You could keep your grid girls, and you could actually use them for a more reasonable, viable and altruistic objective rather than just holding an umbrella with their tits half out. I understand that, and I completely get that as well, more than anything else. And for me, that's just the way I look at the situation. Like, and trust me, I think they should be gotten rid of, because I think you could use that money in a much more beneficial way. For example, how about using it on more medical doctors? Getting people to the scene of accidents faster, instead of paying maybe 50 or 60 grid girls a one-off appearance fee, which is probably going to be in the thousands, if not tens of thousands, just to advertise your event and branding purposes. Like, I don't see the point, I don't see what it adds to the sports involved, and I don't see the point. And to me, I don't think it's worth shedding a tear over glam models over losing a little bit of work, because in my opinion, if you're a glam model and you're that pretty and you're getting paid for it, there's a lot of viable revenue streams you could take, rather than just holding up an umbrella at a race event. You could actually do some modelling instead. Or, you know, there's a ton of other revenue streams. I don't even want to go into that on video, because people know what's up. And to me, it just seems like the direction of money, you know, is messed up, and I think it's different. And you know what, I'm glad there's more positive female role models in motorsport coming through over the years, like Claire Williams, like Simona Di Silvestro, and even to a lesser degree Susie Wolff, even though I think she's in it for number one more than pushing the women agenda. I think overall the sport has changed for the better in terms of female inclusion, and we're actually making some progress. Don't get me wrong, when I still see comments on these paddock videos of I'd smash her back doors in, I still feel like we've got a long way to go. But I think this is the first step in making a more positive and more gender equality world when it comes to motorsport. That's my opinion anyway. Let me know what you guys think of the situation, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as always. Until next time, I've been Harrison101. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.